Hello everyone and welcome back to Invincible Guarding the Globe, and today I will be doing a review of the newest hero in the game, Thaedus. So if you do enjoy today's video, then feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Welcome to all of the new subscribers and thanks again for all the support on the previous videos. And yeah, let's get straight into it. So Thaedus is here, the latest hero to the game and the latest Viltrumite and the latest Coalition of Planets. He comes in as a support hero with some very favorable stats. If we have a look at collection here, his power level is below Thrag but above Conquest, I believe, 2.48k. And if we have a look at Conquest, 3.19, so just below Conquest and Thrag, but above, I believe, Omni-Man and Invincible, so he is looking to be pretty strong. His tags include Viltrumites, Leader, Coalition of Planets, Flying, and Melee, so all pretty self-explanatory. He is obviously a melee style combatant, and his attack speed is fast. So if we have a look at his model here, he definitely looks really cool, really strong, and very intimidating. So let's have a look at his skills, because these are the main parts of his kit. So of course he has 4 skills here, and his first skill, Planet Breaker, is pretty cool. So the first skill, Thaedus, alongside Invincible and Omni-Man, charges through the battlefield, striking his target and creating a large area of effect, dealing 150% of his attack as damage to all enemies in the area and stunning them for 3 seconds. This has a cooldown of 23 seconds. So at level 1, it doesn't look like anything too crazy because the damage itself isn't that much. The main thing is that it's a 3-second stun, which is actually pretty good. That's quite a long stun actually. So the stun is very nice. The cooldown 23 seconds is quite long, but obviously we can level this skill up here. So if we have a look at it at level 10, it does increase in a few areas. So again, he does the same thing. However, this time the primary target takes damage equal to 35% of Thaedus's max HP, while all enemies in the area now take 220% of his attack as damage, and again are stunned for 3 seconds, and again the cooldown is 23 seconds. So the damage itself actually isn't that much. It maybe should be higher. It feels a little bit weak in comparison to some other heroes, for example to General Krieg, who is the support for, I guess, the Viltrumites. So yeah, the damage isn't that crazy. Again, it's not true damage either, so it does obviously take into consideration the defense of the enemies. So not the most amount of damage, but 3-second stun is great. 23 seconds is still quite a long cooldown. If you get this, however, to level 15, the cooldown is reduced by 1 second. The damage, the cooldown is reduced by 1 second, and the damage is increased to 50% of Thaedus's max HP and 230% of his attack's damage. Again, a 3-second stun. So depends obviously how powerful your Thaedus is, depends on how powerful of a hit this will do. Now, if you even take it to level 10, that would be fine, because the damage is pretty decent, but the main thing here is the stun, especially because it works so well with Space Racer's ability, where if the enemy is below, this is at level 10% of their HP, and they are stunned, then they will instantly die. So if Thaedus is doing his mega attack and stunning the enemies for 3 seconds, there's a higher chance that Space Racer will shoot them whilst they're stunned, and if they're low HP, instantly kill them, which is very nice and pairs very well. Now, his passive, his second ability here, Coalition Leader, is very interesting. So the skill is, while fighting alongside a Coalition of Planets ally, Thaedus gains 1 charge every 15 seconds. Each charge increases all allies' area of effect damage by 2%, and this can stack up to 5 stacks. So it's pretty interesting because obviously it does boost all allies' area of effect. This obviously, he has to fight alongside a Coalition of Planets ally for this to happen. But it does say that it affects all allies' area of effect, so I believe that should be all allies on the team, regardless of if they are Coalition of Planets or not. You just have to have at least 1 Coalition of Planets ally on the team. Now, 1 charge every 15 seconds is quite a long time, and actually kind of means that for the first 15 seconds of the fight, his passive basically isn't doing anything because it's not giving any buffs for 15 seconds, so it's actually quite weak in that sense. Now we can level it up obviously, and if you have a look at it at level 10, it's again 1 charge every 15 seconds, so again nothing for the first 15 seconds of the fight. Area of effect is now increased to 5% increase, and additionally Thaedus gains 4% max HP for each coalition of planets ally on the team, excluding himself obviously. So if you, for example, have the skill at level 10 and you have a full coalition of planets team, so Thaedus and 4 others, then that will give him 16% extra max HP, which is pretty good, but it is still weaker than Thrag's Viltrumite boost, so that is something interesting there. And again, the area of effect damage is interesting because it's still only every 15 seconds, it's now 5%, but if you have a look at this at level 15, it's again 1 charge every 15 seconds, but the area of effect damage is now increased to 7% and now has 10 stacks capable instead of 5. And additionally, he now gains 5% max HP for each coalition of planets allies. So if you do have the skill at level 15 and you have 4 coalition of planets allies, then that's 20% max HP boost for Thaedus, which is pretty decent. And obviously his max HP is what his first skill stacks on, so that is nice. He obviously can stack up more of these charges, which increase the area of effect damage. Now, area of effect is interesting because not all of the coalition of planets allies actually use area of effect. So if we have a look here, Invincible doesn't use area of effect. Omni-Man's main ability, I think, is area of effect because it deals multiple enemies, so it would actually increase that. Alan is, but obviously he's a defender, so you're not really looking for extra damage there. Space Racer, I don't believe counts as area of effect. Now Tech Jacket, it definitely does boost with her main abilities and also now her totem, so Thaedus and Tech Jacket work very well together, and Battle Beast doesn't have area of effect either, so it's quite interesting because it doesn't actually really boost coalition of planets allies abilities that well actually, looking at it, but obviously they do then buff his HP by being on the team, so a bit of a mixed bag with the passive, and it looks okay, but it's not doing anything for 15 seconds apart from giving him extra HP. So yeah, an interesting one there. I guess we'll have to see how it plays out. The next and third ability is the Scourge virus. Thaedus inflicts poison on the enemy with the lowest max HP at the start of the battle, dealing damage over time equal to 120% of his max HP over 60 seconds. If the target is a Viltrumite, their defense is reduced by 2% of Thaedus' defense while the poison is active. If the target dies, this effect is reapplied to a new enemy. So if this poison is affected to an enemy and they die, then that's not this third skill completely gone. It does actually switch on then to someone else. So yeah, an interesting one. Damage over time. Now damage over time isn't that great in this game. You kind of just want to do all of your damage in one go because enemies can heal, they can get defense buffs, etc. So a bit interesting with that one there. If we have a look at it at level 10, then it's then 170% of its max HP over 60 seconds as damage. When the target's HP drops below 15%, they are now stunned for 3 seconds, which is fun. If the target is Viltrumite, their defense is reduced by 7% of Thaedus' defense while the poison is active. And then again, it will reapply to a new enemy. So a decent amount of damage. Over a long period of time, maybe doesn't make that big of a difference against high level enemies. Against low level enemies, it is actually really pretty useful because it can kill them quite quickly in the backline, and then if they do die, it then switches to some of the other enemies, obviously one enemy at a time, and will deal damage to them. So it's pretty good against weak enemies, but against strong enemies, I don't see it doing that much in terms of damage. When they get below 15%, if they get stunned, now that is pretty good. I like that. Stun is always very useful in this game, and the defense reduction on Viltrumites is pretty decent. Nothing too crazy, to be honest, but it is good. But the only thing is it only applies to the enemy that is poisoned, so it doesn't apply to the whole enemy team, whereas for example Anissa's passive applies to all human enemies, and then in turn all enemies on the enemy team. So not the greatest here, but it can maybe see some usage. If we have a look at level 15, it now deals 200% of his max HP, again over 60 seconds. If they drop below 15%, they are now stunned for 4 seconds, which is very good. An extra second is always nice. And the defense is reduced by 10% if it's a Viltrumite. So it's all right. Like, especially, it's good against low level enemies, but high level enemies, I don't see it doing the massive amount of difference. However, his 4th skill does look very good. Passing the Torch, it's called. When Thaedus' HP drops below 30%, he retreats and summons Alan the Alien. Alan has defense equal to 35% of Thaedus' defense, while his remaining stats are 40% of Thaedus' other stats. Thaedus regenerates 1% of his max HP per second while Alan is active on the field. He returns to the battle once Alan is either defeated or once his HP is fully restored. So this is interesting because it's kind of like a save where if he becomes low HP, he basically summons Alan into the fight for him and retreats out and then starts healing passively in the background. And it does actually, he still regenerates his main ability cooldown whilst he's out of the battle, which is good. So at level 1, this isn't that crazy because Alan can be killed pretty quickly because he has such low stats based on these percentages. But if we then have a look at level 10, again, it's once his HP drops below 30%, he summons Alan. Alan now has defense equal to 52% of Thaedus' defense, and his remaining stats are 50%. Thaedus now regenerates 1.5% of his max HP per second, and the same terms apply for him returning. So it's pretty decent at level 10 actually, because then Alan is actually a little bit beefier, can survive for a little bit longer, and Thaedus actually has a chance to then heal himself back up before either Alan dies or he can return. Alan will probably most likely still die here, but it still does give him more time to then then heal up off the battle, which is nice. So pretty decent at level 10. However, at level 15, that's where you notice the biggest difference, because Alan now has 58% of Thaedus' defense. Remaining stats are 50%, which I believe is actually the same as level 10. Yep. But however, Thaedus now regenerates 2.25% of his max HP per second when Alan is active, which is a lot quicker than the 1.5 and 1% of level 10 and level 1. So if you can get the skill up to level 15, if you are building Thaedus and you really want to invest in him, then the skill is great, especially at level 15. At level 10 it is pretty good though still, and does actually sort of save him here, because with his other skills he doesn't actually look to be too strong. But again, it's difficult to say right now, but the skills themselves aren't actually that great, but the 4th skill definitely makes him a very strong support, which is nice. So I'm going to put him into a battle here. I think he does have a Cecil's Nightmare, if I do remember correctly. We can just plop him in here against these guys, I think. Hopefully I've got a low right gear on him. I've got Omnipotent gear, but I don't have my strongest Omnipotent Plus, which I did use when I ran this GD up, so we might complete it a bit slower. But as you can see here, he is pretty cool actually. Hopefully we should be able to see his main skill in action, and we might be able to see his passive as well, maybe if I put him against some stronger enemies in a second. But yeah, in terms of how good he is, it's difficult to say. He doesn't actually look that strong, he doesn't look that broken. I think there definitely are better heroes. Oh yeah, there they are. So Invincible and Omni-Man come in, but they don't really do much apart from fly with him, and he comes in and stuns the enemy there, which is always fun. So yeah, he looks pretty decent. Again, it's a bit difficult to say. Oh, there we go, he swapped himself out for Alan. Now all of my skills for Thaedus are at level 1, so he's not the strongest here, but you can see that at the bottom he is regenerating health now 1% every second, I think it is. Isn't that crazy? But as you can see, he also then had time to rebuild back up his main ability there. So Alan will probably die in a second here, yeah, and then Thaedus comes back in with his main skill, comes back in with Omni-Man and Invincible, and deals a decent amount of damage and stuns them, which is nice. So yeah, pretty decent hero by the looks of it. Leave a comment down below what you think, and leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, I think that should just do us for today. So yeah, cheers and see you in the next one.